Imagine what it would be like to hold all the power in the universe right in the tips of your fingers. Hey there, Dan Hartman, Community Machinery, Sackville, New Brunswick, and another good little philosophy talk. So, we often hear stories about religious leaders holding power, politicians holding power, capitalism holding power, industry holding power, any number of different things, conspiracy theories holding power, liars holding power, whatever it is, no matter where we are. It can always be a great theme. Who's got the power? Yet, there's one thing that truly has power, and that's stories. Now, when we think about stories, we all have the stories of where we came from, how we got here, and when we really start breaking those stories down and we stay curious, the more we recognize our own stories and how people didn't understand our good intentions when we were looking to meet our own basic needs. And I know for me, stuff like if I make up an invoice and it seems way too high for someone, say, oh, that guy, he just wants power, he just wants money, he's just greedy. Is that the case? If I might be concerned about someone's safety in the shop, I'm like, whoa, 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 hey, stop doing what you're doing. And if we don't take the time to really clearly understand where we're both coming from, if there's someone who I like, whoa, that person, the way they're dressed when they're working here, it's either going to give people the wrong impression when they come through the door and they're not going to take this place seriously, or the way someone's doing their work, might not meet a certain perceived idea of quality. For anyone whose name is on the line, in terms of, me, my name's on the bank account, my name is on the insurance policy, my name is on the lease, my name is on the workers' compensation paperwork. If anything happens, there's all these subconscious things in our minds as far as, oh, I gotta protect this physical body. I don't wanna go to jail. I don't wanna end up on the street starving. I don't wanna get sick out on the street. And we don't recognize our own little stories going on. And the things where we get attached to the way our life is, we might not be the most diplomatic. We might not feel like we have time. There's a part of us that's always going to feel time bound, having a physical body. And to bring things back in, when we recognize those parts where we were misunderstood, it's a great place to start being curious about people who get pointed at as being hungry for power, and recognizing when those misunderstandings have happened in our lives, that it's really a part of us where we put up a wall to protect something that feels vulnerable within. And to recognize that theme, those archetypal experiences, they're patterns, and to have that pattern recognition going on. So instead of saying, that person's just trying to be powerful, we'll take a step back and invite in that curious part of our mind in terms of, I wonder what shaped that person's life in order to think that way. Is my way of thinking right and their way of thinking wrong? What's a way we might all come up with an idea that's inclusive of everyone? I know a lot of politicians, whether they're men or women, are often very aggressive, especially in this day and age. And it feels like we can be living in a really dark time. Even, I would say, religious leaders I've heard cast out other religions, and even spiritual teachers cast out other spiritual teachers. And sometimes people casting out others in the name of inclusivity. All these things don't really have a place in a world where we feel we want to have the freedom to recognize our own personal power. And a lot of times when we look at other people having power, if it's something that sets us off, that's not really true power. True power is something where people come together to create a more unifying experience for others. That's truly power. And it's something that allows us to come away feeling like we're motivated to do something positive for others. Something that is going to create a better experience of things like making sure everyone is well fed, sheltered, feeling healthy, feeling energetic, feeling alive in our bodies, feeling intellectually stimulated. And really, one of the things I remember having really mind-opening experience is when I found out about this book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meanings. And Dr. Frankl, having gone through the Holocaust, he's a research psychologist, he's Jewish. I forget where he's from, maybe, I forget. Anyhow, his research concluded that it wasn't where we live in society as far as, whether we're the top income earners or we're at the bottom, is more recognizing with whatever slice we do live in, recognizing the choices we have in our life. So if someone's in a prison, recognizing they have the choice to share the morsels of food they have with someone they might be housed with. Or if someone's sick, they have the opportunity to support them in the ways they can to nurse them back to health, to smile, to share a comforting word. Or when we really get into that point of greater self-mastery, really observing the thoughts going through our mind in terms of, if we can see them going on, who's the one watching them? Are those thoughts really us? Or are they part of an experience being here in a physical dimension where there's so much going on? And even really setting the intention to see things beyond what we're seeing right now in order to create a more enjoyable experience for ourselves over time. So, we don't need to go from being a low-income earner to a high-income earner. We just go from not seeing a lot of possibility, not feeling a lot of gratitude, to choosing, what things am I feeling really grateful for? I enjoy breathing. I enjoy looking at that tree. I enjoy being in this shop. Man, having those walls painted white and having this place bright and having the heat on in here, man, I'm really grateful for that. And knowing what we're choosing against, we can see what we're choosing for. As far as, I could have stayed back in Ontario, where I was familiar with people that I'd known my whole life. Or I could come here. Somehow I managed to get this shop. This wasn't happening in Ontario. I didn't know it was going to happen here, but it has. And if it was a choice of coming here to make this happen, I'm grateful I took it, because there's some part of me that I felt like this was an important thing to do, to try out. Is it important? Is it not? Well, if we look at our stories, there's some calling we have where if we accumulate all our different life experiences that feel important, they'll shape us and send us on this heroic journey. And because that's where we really need to expand the idea of what is heroic in terms of finding our true life calling, our purpose, the thing that feels so important to us that we tune out what everyone else is doing in order to dance to the beat of our own drum. That's the stuff that's life affirming, that's empowering, where we recognize what true power really is. There's a lot of times where from that place we'll see people who are pronounced to be powerful by others, and we'll recognize that person doesn't look like they're having any fun. How could that possibly be powerful? Isn't the one thing in this world that's really worth celebrating is being able to contribute to the lives of others while being joyously working what else could we possibly want? And I think the one thought to summarize is that there's a stage that everyone goes through. I mean, a lot of times in Western culture, we don't go through life stages in a really conscious way. But if we recognize that place where we're at a crossroads, where our minds are just driving us crazy, watching all those thoughts, not even recognizing we're watching and that we might have power to change them, there's that part in us that says, you know what? Let's just end it all and get out of this physical universe. And if we recognize our choice to not end our lives, then that's really a choice to be here in this life as creators of our own destiny, to see that life is being done through us instead of being done to us, and that we're here for a reason, and then to start building on what are the reasons that I am here? How can I be here on purpose? On purpose? Love that one. So from that place, we get to that fork in the road where we feel like we really chose to be here, that we chose to come and have parents that miss certain aspects of our lives, so we learn deeper lessons. It's all personal mythology, yet it creates a feeling of power. And if we have that feeling of power, we have the feeling that we can get through the next thing that's on our journey. Because we made it this far, we're just going to keep going. And I don't know myself, all the things I've gone through. Now at this stage, I find I still wake up a lot of times in the morning feeling anxious. Just crazy, crazy anxious. And I'm making that agreement with myself a while back. Hey, if you wake up, you're feeling anxious, you get to meditate as much as you want. A lot of times, a half hour, I'm not feeling as anxious, then I'm getting up. And after I'm up, then I'm walking around, then I start doing a couple little tasks, then that leads into the next thing. So sometimes starting the part that's really easy, and I know from some of the projects I've got that felt like they were just completely on a downhill slide, they were going to tank out, and just doing the enjoyable little part of the project that I could do, that we had the resources for, that felt like it came automatically. There's a subconscious part, and I know I just had one of those experiences yesterday where I was away doing something completely unrelated. Oh yeah, that's the material I can use for that component. That's the way. And then I thought of 3 improvements because I sat step back, and instead of being pressed up against the wall, so there's a window there we could jump through, or over here there's a door we can just open and walk through, and we see so many more great solutions to all the things we thought were completely impossible. And the biggest one we could ever see is that other people here in this universe, that we all came here to work and feel unified as one people, that there's no belief system or ideology that's real, that's so concrete, that it's just exclusive to a certain group of people, or a certain race, or a certain religion, or a certain corporate philosophy. All these things have their own little nuance of deeper truth, and it's a matter of us, if you consider, we're all standing in a circle, we all hold a different viewpoint that really holds that circle together. So it's us all bringing our combined truths together. There's also a book, The Wisdom of Crowds, crazy, crazy book, where there's people at a country fair and they all write down the weight of this hog that's there. And the combined wisdom of the whole crowd is actually just as wise as the wisest person, if not wiser. So there's actually some pseudoscience to this as well. But I mean, part of it's just our own experience, and part of it's a bigger choice to make, that this is a peaceful universe, and that's where we really want to reside. So why, even if it was true that other people have power and they're wielding power and we got to be afraid, even if that was true, it would be insane to spend time thinking about it. And for me, I really love that knowing when we do change, we attract other people who feel more empowered, more inspired, and